Don't ask me how do we resolve Cyberjar under Spatial Collapse. Please don't ask me this question. Please do not ask me this question. Hi, Judge. We proceeded the duel, but wanted to know the interaction. If I fusion summon a Goides nuts with invocation, and my opponent summons Merry Melfies during the same chain, can he chain Merry Melfies? Are you asking because of Meltdown? I assume he's asking because of Meltdown. If the spell effect that summoned a Goides was CL1, they cannot chain Mary. However, if you summoned a Goides as CL2 or higher, then they can. So if you like Invocation Chainlink 1, because Magical Meltdown says they can't respond when a fusion monster is summoned this way, or when a monster is fusion summoned this way, which means it has to be the last action to occur. It's the same thing as Branded Lost. If you chain, like, Branded in red as Chainlink 2 or higher, then your Branded Lost won't prevent your opponent from responding on res. Invo is CL1, so we are good. Thanks, Judge. No problem. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. We got a Ruling in Goat. Hi. How can I help? Oh my god. This dude's getting... Whoa! Premature bring back spell canceller is so funny, but the Snatch Steal will stop applying. So you'll have to give back the monster you took. Hello, spell canceller. Negate Snatch Steal. Monster return. Yes, you have to return the monster. Have a good day, Mr. YCS Champ. Thank you, bro. I will. I will. Have a nice day. I special summon a monster and triggered his effect. Is he talking about this? Cards in your hand. You can reveal one other Phantom Knight's card in your hand. Special summon this card. If this card's normal special summon, add one, the Phantom Knight's monster from your deck to your hand. My opponent special summoned a monster, triggering its effect. I chained Lancia to special summon Raiho from deck. Was a continuous effect? Yeah, well, Raiho works on this. In the next chain, my opponent triggers his Synchro and summons Ice Barrier. He wants to do Ice Barrier effect. Raiho is a continuous effect. So here, the chain is CL1 Cloak to add, CL2 Lancia to summon Raiho. As Cloak would resolve, the effect of Raiho applies. We are talking about Lancia. No, you are talking about Lancia. Your opponent is talking about Raiho. The chain is CL1 Cloak, CL2 Lancia. Lancia summons Raiho, which applies Lancia's if not when. I beg of you to tell me why if over when here matters. I beg of you. I beg of you. Is this a trigger effect? One moment. Is Lancia a trigger effect? Is this not a quick effect? Does it not chain immediately? Am I crazy? Because these are both triggers, and they trigger on the summon. They both trigger on the summon. I don't see what the problem is here. This triggers when the opponent special summons, not when they activate a monster effect. They both go on chain. When is like Ash Blossom, so it's direct. Okay, Ash Blossom is a quick effect. Lancia is a trigger effect. Do you realize your Cloak and the Lancia have the exact same trigger condition? They have the same trigger condition. They both trigger on summon. Therefore, they both meet their trigger at the same time and go on the same chain. They both have the same trigger condition. They both have the same trigger condition. What's the issue here? It's Chainlink 1 Cloak, Chainlink 2 Lancia, because they're both responding to the successful summon. And they both say if. Like, this guy's flawed argument doesn't make any sense. Yeah, logic and reasoning. Does it make sense? I'm sorry. In what way does two cards having the same activation timing and requirement not make sense for them to go on chain at the same time? Please explain this to me. Please explain this to me. This doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? He has to be like rage baiting or trolling or something. What are we talking about? Like, I want Red to explain this logic. The chain here is, yes, exactly. The chain is Cloak CL1, Lancia CL2, summoning Raiho. Raiho applies when you are attempting to resolve Cloak. So this discards a card, right? Either discard or Cloak is negated. Proceed. Like, come on, man. I'm not playing these games. I'm not playing these games, man. I've played these games before. Not a big fan. There you go. Discard Harp Horror. Let's go. Have a nice day. Discard harp is crazy. That is like so broken. This guy's name is I Love Twinks. What a fucking weirdo. Like, that's such a weird thing to just... Ah, seems someone is cheating. Kaiba the Goat is summoning a bunch of Blue Eyes cards, it would appear. This feels like a very real board state. Very real board state. I feel like I don't gotta explain this one, Judge. You don't. I got this. Yeah, Blue just started summoning a bunch of shit. I'll be banning. I'll be freezing you for trolling. We found John Kaiba, and he thought that he could say, screw the rules, I have money in real life, but that's not how that works. That is not how that works. Not how that works. Not how that works. Bro says, no! No! Trolling. And you're banned, bro. You're banned. You're frozen. You're cooked. Have a nice day. Now to see if this guy has any ults, because I get a vibe. Call me crazy, chat. I'm getting a vibe here that blue player might have ults. Can we check? Alt check? No ults. He's doing it for the love of the game. For the love of the game. That's crazy. Hi, Judge. I won the roll and my opponent started playing for whatever reason. Why are you playing? It is not your turn. It is not your turn. It is red player's turn. I'm allowed to do that play because the cards were jumbled from the OCG. It isn't your turn. How are you playing these cards during your opponent's turn? It's not your turn, duelist. Jumbled from the OCG. This is a troll, right? Has to be. We agree. We agree. He's just trolling. We agree, Chad. Do we agree here? Any agreeers that this guy is clearly just trolling? Chad, this guy's been set as beginner twice. Blue has been set to beginner twice. I'm gonna freeze for trolling, but I'm gonna advocate for permanent beginner status. I'm gonna message the heads, and I'm gonna say this guy should probably permanently be set to beginner. I'm gonna freeze here. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. But I am gonna ping the heads here. The user, this guy, has been set to beginner twice. Since when? When was he first ever set to beginner? He was set to beginner in 2024 and then came back in January 2026 and got set to beginner again. How does that even happen? 2024 comes back in January. Okay. And I've now frozen them for trolling, but frankly, it could just be beginner again. I'd advocate for a perma beginner here. Did he play in between? I don't fucking know if he did. I have no clue. But regardless, man, you don't play 2024, get set to beginner, come back 2026, set to beginner again. Like, how do you remain a beginner for 3 years? Like, how does that happen? How does that, how do you do that? We got another goat call. What the fuck? Spatial collapse. Only have to discard if both you and your opponent each have 5 or less cards on the field. Weird. The maximum number of cards that each player can have on the field is 5. Please do not ask me a question about spatial collapse. Oh, Blue's gonna ask if he's allowed to tribute summon here. I don't know how to resolve Cyberjar. Don't ask me how do we resolve Cyberjar under spatial collapse. Please don't ask me this question. Please do not ask me this question. I must summon 3 monsters, but there is spatial collapse. Give me a moment. Let us consult the sacred texts. All right, chat? Holy shit, man. Skill drain. Wait, actually, how is he resolving Cyberjar? Oh, hold up. How are you resolving Cyberjar under skill drain? How are you resolving Cyberjar under skill drain exactly? Oh, damn. Lol. We're kidding, right? I forgot I had a floodgate on my board that negates my Cyberjar. Dude, I don't even want to bother figuring out this ruling because, like, what the fuck are we talking about, man? I'll give y'all the out here. Would you guys perhaps like me to cancel this duel? I'll give you the out. I'll give you the out. But I am going to look up the ruling. I am curious to know. While this effects in effect, neither player may activate or set cards or effects in such a way that the number of cards on their field exceeds 5. You can only activate if there's 5 or fewer cards on the field, including spatial collapse. Cool with me? No, it's fine for me. Fantastic. Wait, no, as in you don't want me to cancel? Oh, he's just gonna... Wait, he admitted defeat? I was gonna cancel it. I was gonna cancel it. The truth is, I don't know how this would resolve. I'm looking this up. Let me check, let me see if goatformat.com has anything for this. My assumption, like my guess would be, well, all the monsters for Cyberjar are considered to enter the board at the same time. Do you just like resolve it? There's no way you resolve it, right? There's no way you just resolve it. While Spatial Collapse is active and you have one or more card already on your side of the field, you cannot activate Scapegoat because you would have your one previous card plus a Scapegoat card plus 4 monster tokens equals 6. When Cyberjar is activated while Spatial Collapse is active, if the number of cards exceeds 5, each player selects cards to send to the graveyard to make the number 5. Interesting. So you resolve it and then there can be only one yourself. That's super interesting. There can be only one yourself. Wow. There is an entry. There is an entry for Spatial Collapse on goatformat.com. That's kind of crazy. So in this scenario, I should choose one monster and the other goes to the grave, right? You would summon everything and then you send cards so as to only have 5 remaining. So you could send back row as well, right? Each player selects cards to send. You could send spell traps instead if you wanted. Like you could literally send excess spells and traps. You would be able to send the Spatial Collapse itself, which is interesting. Okay, a high key, that's a really dope ruling. That's actually super cool. And you're allowed to activate it because you don't even know if Cyberjar will hit a monster. That's the reason you're allowed to activate it. Like, let's say you have Cyberjar 4 spell traps. You're allowed to activate it because Cyberjar can hit all spell traps and then they would all go to hand. Or all level 5 or higher monsters, so they would all go to hand. So because you can't know for sure that you would try to summon something, then at that point you're allowed, and it's a mandatory effect, so it has to activate regardless. The question is entirely about how you would resolve it, and that's how you would resolve. You would just summon everything, and then there can be only one yourself. That's actually a really cool ruling. That is a super interesting ruling. I'm upset that blue just left because I would have just canceled the duel. Because they resolved an entire Cyberjar, and I think it's really difficult to rewind an entire Cyberjar that was like illegally resolved under skill drain. Interesting ruling. I was just going to cancel the duel so as to have no one lose ranking, but apparently this guy didn't care, and he's just like, yeah, I'll just dip.